a Hornet guy from Lemoore sent me this. Said the JOs in the fleet are up in arms, which means
as they should be.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever you sign up to be a pilot, you incur a commitment. And then for us, Wombat, what was it? 8 years after wings?
8 after, yeah.
8 after wings. I don't know what it is now. But,
probably
so the
10.
Navy will
They're
force.
probably all 10 now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Navy will force aviators to remain in service after complete sea tours. So correct me if I'm wrong on that, but typically back in the day, the way it worked was your 8-year commitment would usually end midway-ish through your second sea tour, which was usually
depending on how long flight school took.
Correct, exactly. So, and if that happened, you could submit your paperwork to get out, and they would let you out. But that seems to not be the case anymore. So the Navy will now require naval aviators to serve past their minimum service requirement in order to complete their second 2-year sea tour. And it's because they don't have enough people. So this is, yeah. Naval Personnel Command has historically signed off on mid-tour separation requests. Navy pilots, flight and NFOs will now fulfill their entire length of sea tour prior to departing the service. So it looks like it's not even an option now to even ask to be let out. Looks like you're going to finish those orders. So what is
I'm
it?
sure that'll help build more
morale
aviators quickly, right?
Yeah, exactly. So here we go. We're in the warfighting business. This is one way we're going to continue to increase readiness. We understand there's concerns.
Yeah, this is totally going to increase readiness.
1,000%. Well, look, it says we're communicating this more than a whole year in advance so that people can ask questions and plan their careers. Ultimately, it reduces turnover, creates opportunity for more junior officers to complete the shore duty in the future. Yeah, awesome. So they kind of go through this little damage control as far as it's not that bad. But pretty sure, Wombat, I mean, you know, okay, they have this problem because they've squandered their manning and they've squandered I think their most valuable resource, which is the people, through poor leadership. But I will say, you know, it is a military. I think back in the day, right, if you accepted a set of orders, was it more than 2 years? Like they could say no. Wasn't there some clause like that?
Yeah, there was something there for sure.
Yeah.
But dude, and I don't want to interrupt you, but let's not make this anything that it's not. Okay. This is not a pat on the back, raise the American flag. We're going to fight. This is piss poor leadership trying to put a Band-Aid fix on something that they created. They slit their wrists and they're trying to fix it with a Band-Aid. And it's crap because this is not going to help anything in the long term. It might help things in the short term, but I'll tell you what, I bet those aviators are going to be stoked. How about the dude? Well, we're putting this out a year ahead of time so people can plan their careers. What about the dude that's within 2 years of getting out and already had planned his career? Right?
Yeah.
It's garbage. And this is so, listen, I served, I went to wars, I did commands that I didn't want to do. I followed orders from people that frankly, I shouldn't have even been following orders for because they were not good or smart enough to be giving those orders. But I did it because that's what I signed up for and I raised my hand for. And that's what these guys and girls do too. This has nothing to do with a piss poor Band-Aid fix of leadership. And frankly, it doesn't surprise me from the other thing that PERS 43 polled just a few months ago. They don't care about their people. And it's like, you don't need somebody on YouTube to tell naval aviators they don't care about their people. They're doing it for me. I don't need to even get upset because this is such garbage. It's like you've called people that get out before their commitment terrorists. Or I'm sorry, get out at their commitment. At their commitment, not before. At their commitment, you've called them terrorists. Terrorists, for Christ's sakes. You have then taken down and gone against your own social media rules. And then now, when that didn't work to fix retention, we're going to do this. So yeah, that'll fix it. Because what's going to happen now is you're going to have the next generation that looks at this and goes, wait a second, why would I even join? But here's the thing, and my dad said this to me once, and I love this, and I'll bring it up again. It was when I was in Meridian, I was at the wing, and both of the skippers went to PERS to talk about, this was back in 2012, to talk about the airlines hiring. And one of the skippers, great dude from BT7, was like, hey, Admiral, like, what's the Navy going to do about retention? Because if the airlines start hiring, right? Because remember, there was that buildup in 08, and then it never happened because of 60 to 65. right? So that kind of saved the military. But then now we're getting 2013, 2012, 2013. Like, it's impending. Like, there's no way it's not going to happen. And it did. And I mean, in droves, people got out, myself included. And this commander of a squadron who I highly respect asked the admiral, what is the Navy doing to prevent this? And the admiral goes, I don't see this as a problem. And I told that to my dad. He's an extremely smart man. And he goes, yes, that is what the admiral said. But what you realize is what he really meant is, I don't see it as my problem, because I'm going to be done with this set of orders by the time that's an issue. And that's the same thing. The people making these decisions go, hey, if I could stopgap this issue for 2 years, I'm out. I'm on to something else. And I need my job at a big corporation, and I need all that stuff. So this will look good for me because the retention is going to be there. It's the same crap, man. It's the same piss poor leadership.
Yeah. I mean, one side, hey, it's military. This is kind of what you signed up for, right? But on the flip side, it's like, okay, man, if you screw your people, there's going to be repercussions later. So
100%.
To kind of add to what everything you says 100% right, Wombat. But if you end up screwing your people enough, it doesn't matter if the airlines are hiring or not, because I became a RAG instructor in 2009 when nobody was hiring.
Yeah.
And they were sending almost every single fighter pilot who rolled to their shore tour on an IA, and every single guy and gal that I knew that was a RAG IP then that could get out was getting out. And no one, and they were just like, they were so mad they had to go spend a year driving around in a Humvee in the desert or whatever, helping the Army because they were broke. Yeah. So
I mean, you and I both have a friend that was a head postmaster at a FOB after being a Top Gun graduate.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on. This isn't.
Yeah. No, yeah. Peaches brought that up when I interviewed him. Exactly. So, if you kick the dog enough, bad things will happen.
Coming home one day.
Yeah.
That's for sure. This is dumb.
Is that a threat, Gonky? Are you threatening?
No.
It's just a figure of speech.
Certain dogs will take a lot.
Yeah. Some dogs don't even know they're getting kicked. So
it's true.
But yeah,
it's true. And they're the best hinge in all of the.
Yeah, a mover in the air. I don't even know, man. In the Air Force, once you reach, the end of your commitment, can you get out right then? Do you have to ask, or how does it work?
No, you can get out. I mean, it's a 10-year commitment, and
did he just freeze?
He's frozen.
He's frozen.
Gosh, man, it was like
it was perfect too, because it looked like he was pausing for thought.
So it reminds me of Boeing. As I was going to say, it reminds me of Boeing. Leadership by spreadsheet. This is not a symptom of anything other than we don't address people. We don't lead people. We don't think about people. We think about numbers. We think about COGS. We think about cost units. We think about everything that dehumanizes our fighting force. And when you do that, it's great when things are going well, when you've got an unlimited budget because you're fighting 2 wars and everybody's behind it. When you've got, the public support because, we just got attacked and everybody wants to find something to be mad at and we've got to go to war over it. And you've got willing people that are wanting to go and sign the dotted line, and they don't care really how or what cost. So when that happens, everything works great. The spreadsheet, it's green. You're in the black. It's not a problem. But over time, that spreadsheet starts to bleed because the variables start to change. And when the variables start to change and you've lost that human element, you've lost your fighting force and you've lost your people, because people follow leaders. They don't follow managers. And when you get into that situation, you have disgruntled, experienced aviators who are the ones that teach the younger ones. The younger ones show up. They learn from the disgruntled. Disgruntled tell them, look, dude, be in it for you. Don't care about the greater good, the flag waving, all that stuff. You're just here for you. And then that permeates throughout your entire fighting force. And those people get out because they have options. And the ones that stay are the spreadsheet managers, because that is what we've created. We've created wickets for promotion that involves spreadsheets, checking boxes and checking this. And did you do this? And did you go through this class? Even though the class is stupid and the people running it are stupid, you had to do it. So the ones that succeed are the ones that embraced it. And they were like, oh yeah, this is great. You know, I really learned a lot from writing that paper. No, you didn't. You didn't learn anything because you haven't done anything in your entire career. But those are the ones that move on, and then they turn around and go, well, I did it, so you have to do it too.
Yep.
And I was a part of this, so you have to too. So the spreadsheet just keeps growing to the point that when a problem finally presents itself, there are no common sense solutions. It's, well, we've got a commitment. I can legally do this. This is what we're going to do. The numbers are going to match. And just like you were talking about before, Wombat, it's not my problem after my tour. And we've kicked the can because we've run out the people that actually care about the people that are under their charge. So, and it's the same thing. I mean, on the civilian side, you saw it at Boeing. When the accountants took over, the company fell apart. Like quality went down because accountants and budgets and all that stuff versus, the equivalent is engineering with Boeing, leadership in the military. You have to be leadership oriented and people oriented, or else you will lose. And, I have served with commanders that I would follow into the gates of hell. Those are the ones that people will go, you know what, it kind of sucks now, but I've got the best commander in the military and I'll do whatever he asks me to do because I believe in the greater good, because he's instilled the mission into me. Once that mission is in here and I've internalized it, dude, all bets are off. I mean, people will put up with a lot of stuff, but when you've made it a corporate entity and you've told people that it doesn't really matter about the mission, we care about your flight suit, your boots, your morale patches. We're going to do uniform inspections. We're going to keep you past your commitment. We're not actually going to go to war. We're just going to kind of burn holes in the sky. But hey, make sure you log this so you're green. But we don't really care if you actually what message do you send? I don't think there's ever going to be a shortage of qualified applicants because you don't know any better. That initial tier typically doesn't know any better. But who's going to train them? It's kind of who's going to carry the boats, right? Who is going to be the one that instills that sense of purpose and that sense of mission and keeps them staying? And you can't do it by extending the commitment because guess what? The kids are getting smarter. And eventually they're going to go, you know what? 10 years. I've even seen this. I've seen people go, well, I want to go to the airlines. Well, I can't because I got to go 10 years. Well, they just don't do it. They go straight to the airlines and you never see them, so it is a threat to national security.
Well, and that's a good point. And that leader would counter to you, well, you know what, Mover? I don't want that person that's not willing to give up 10 years to go to the airlines. And it's like,
exactly.
You don't
100%.
Even know what you want because you're going to get to a point where you'll take anybody, frankly. I mean, that's going to be what this is about. And I mean, again, I agree with you and Gonky, and I know because he was nodding when you said it too. We've all worked for people. I mean, Trim was one of mine, man. I would have flown off Trim's wing into the gates of hell in an E2 with no weapons. Like, if he told me we were going, I'm going, right? That guy was an amazing leader. Nasty was the same way. Amazing leader. If he told me like, Wombat, you got to go solo fly your Hawkeye into that Russian bear, I'd be like, yes, sir. This is going to suck, but I'm doing it, right? But the problem is those guys are gone. Right. And the people that have been promoted up, I don't even know if they know the mission anymore. What is the mission? Because we just spent 20 years fighting a damn war that we pulled out of in a laughable way that took all of our careers and just made it a freaking joke. Right. And nobody got held accountable for that.
Nope.
What leader was held accountable?
Not one person got fired.
Zero.
Nobody got fired. Exactly.
Zero. Not one.
Exactly.
Not one. I've been fired more times in my career for dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that doesn't even count. Like, you guys know. I mean, even recently, but that's not the point. What I'm saying is like so nobody got held accountable. So what's the mission? The mission is exactly what you said. Make sure you do, your Navy knowledge online, because that's important. You're going to learn a lot about, human trafficking, which is horrible, but trust me, I don't need to do a computer program every 6 months to tell me that. I'm a decent human being.
Drinking's bad. Drinking's bad.
Make sure. Yeah. Don't shake your baby. Don't shave your genitals. I mean, all the stuff that I'm like, who makes this garbage, dude?
Bystander intervention, that's important.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. And it's just like, dude, stop. Your job as a military member is to take your enemy and send them to their creator before they do it to you. Period. Case closed. That's it. Period. Show me the real leaders. And I know there's some up there. I know they're out there. I have faith that they are out there. Show me those leaders. Promote the hell out of those leaders, and we have a chance. You keep promoting these chicken shits, dude, we're done. Are you kidding me? If that's your way of taking care of your people, you know what your people wouldn't do? They wouldn't piss if you piss on you if you were in fire. That's what your people are going to do. That's the people. They're not going to follow you in anything. Period. And it's garbage, man. It's such garbage. So, and it's, you know what? Unfortunately, it's either going to take the real leaders that have command, that have a voice in the military to step up and say, this is enough, and actually do something and not worry about what cushy job they're going to get when they retire with some contractor. They actually go back to why they joined 20 plus years ago and actually step up. Or it's going to take some major attack like we had to reset this. And unfortunately,
well,
I think I know which one it's going to be.
I would, this is maybe a little bit of a tangent, but I think it's relevant to the retention side of things and the national security issue. You could afford to do this when you had a strong Air Reserve component, both Air Force and Navy, because the experienced people would get out of the regular Air Force, regular Navy, whatever, and then jump to the strategic reserve where they could be called up at a moment's notice. Remember, is it VFA 201 that went out, from Carswell and just like wiped the floor? Wiped the floor with everybody because they were just like the best ball flyers. They were like, they deployed and then they shut them down right after. But
somebody forgot their Navy knowledge online while they're out there slaying. But it wasn't their fault. They had to take them down.
But historically speaking, pre 2000s, mid 2000s, as we started with the sequestration and stuff like that, we had a place for the experience to go that was cyclical with the airlines because, they got out, they got their airline job, they still flew, and we retained that knowledge, we retained that experience. But in the last 15 years, maybe even more, we have sold our soul in the fifth gen pursuit. We've sold our soul in trying to be active duty light in the reserves, both sides. And what do we have? VFA 204 is now VFC 204, right? They're not even, they're not they have no strategic reserve capability anymore.
Yeah, they're F5s. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've created job landing on carriers. Horrible.
Yeah. Here's Luna, by the way. But what I'm saying is, people, they don't realize how important it is until we get into a shooting war and it's too late, because you need that reserve. That's the name. You need that ability to call back to that experience. And Lynn is out. She's like, I don't like what you're talking about.
She's upset about this too. This affects her.
But you need that. You need that experience. You need those airframes. You need low cost airframes that you can augment. Day 6 to 9 of the war. That's not first tip of the spear, stuff like that. You need that experience base to fill the gaps. We don't have that because the reserves have been gutted through budget cuts. I mean, this was an article we probably should have talked about, but the 706 Fighter Squadron is losing their Vipers. That's a whole nother Red Air squadron they just got rid of. And eventually, I guess maybe they'll go F-35s or whatever, but it's just like what happened to us at Tyndall/Eglin and the 301st is you take these millions of dollars of training, experience. We were there for the young dudes. We were able, if we needed to, if the war kicked off, we could easily transition to any 4th gen fighter, maybe 5th gen fighter, and have been that experienced cadre. But instead they said, you know what, we don't need you anymore. You go find a job or get out. We don't care. It goes back to the people first thing. And it's not a hit on AFREC or whatever. It's a paradigm with really Congress and how we are shaping our fighting force and going, reserves aren't as important as we thought they were. When, if you look historically, reserves are the ones that bear the burden of war, because Desert Storm, dude, they called up the 706 Fighter Squadron and T-Bear, and they called up, one of the first air-to-air kills in an A-10 was an A-10 from the 706 Fighter Squadron, a reserve unit. Those are the ones that help you fight and win wars. And if you don't take it seriously, and if you don't have a place for that experience to go, you know what they do? At 10 years, they say, "See you later, pull chocks, I'm out." And they just get out. They just straight separate, and that's it. You've lost that experience. You never get it back. And once they've tasted freedom, see you later.
Oh, dude. I see it all the time. I mean, I'm flying with new hires, and I'm like, "Oh, are you in the military?" And we have our little bro chat about how cool we used to be. And I'm like, "So what are you doing in the reserves?" And they look at me, they're like, and I'm like, "Well, tri-care." They're like, "Not worth it, bro." And I'm like,
we can't. I mean, we can't. The bottom, like you said, mover 5th gen, all this. We can't afford. We can't afford the military that we want. Basically,
we need.
Or need.
Well,
yeah, we can't. I mean, that's why they're well. Let's close this down. Let's save some money here. Close this down, and they don't even look at the value of.
Sure, afford giving money to other places, though, right?
We
don't have a problem
it's
doing
like
that.
every time I talk to somebody, it's like, well, that unit's going away. Well, this unit's sunsetting. We're going to transition to this. We don't know what's going to happen, because we've put all our eggs in this F-35. And dude, we knocked the F-35 as Fat Amy or whatever. It's a great, capable airplane, but you need that 4th gen. You need the filler. You need the A-10, the EX, or something because
just
it's
numbers.
Not always going to
numbers.
It's not always going to be day one. Day one is, when you're not in that. Well, the A-10's not survivable. Well, no, it's not survivable day one, but we don't fight day one 150 times. We fight day one once, and then eventually we're either losing or we're winning, and the A-10 can go in and, an uncontested environment and do the actual work. Because what have we found with history? It's the boots on the ground. It's the boots on the ground that have to go in and take it, not the air war. The air war ends. It's the dude in the foxhole that we got to support.
And it's like, got to learn this over and over. And they brought it up in the movie, man. It's not the airplane. It's how well trained are your people. And I'm sorry, like, ask 5th gen guys how much they're flying. Like, we don't have enough money to get the training.
Dude, I can only imagine how poor comparatively, because it was going downhill when I was still flying the Hornet. Hey, man, go up into the MOA and just maxi and try to check off as many boxes as you can. And I'm like, but I'm not doing any of this stuff. Well, but we got to burn the flight time too, or we're not going to get it. I'm like, well, why don't
you roll off the 180?
You
roll off the 180, count it as a bomb delivery.
As a bomb delivery off the 180.
That's right.
But
hey, if you overshoot final and you got to come back, that's BFM, brother. That's right there. That's BFM. Count it. I mean, it's so freaking ridiculous, man. And then we wonder why people are flying to the ground. Planes are getting out. Come on, dude. This isn't even hard leadership stuff. Like, there are some genuine hard leadership challenges in the world. There really are. This is easier than the coach pitch I just watched my son play. Like, this is the softest of softballs. Like, this is not like, I don't need history's greatest leaders on this one. It's like, stop crapping on your people, and your people will stick around.
Yeah.
Pretty damn simple.